That's just a terrible, terrible take when you're talking about a person that's thinking different than you, and that's your quarterback. That almost is like now I'm looking at my coach like, man, my coach is an idiot. I
The mainstream media will not leave Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts' relationship alone. Let me ask you, bro, and people out there watching, I wonder if this has ever happened. Has there ever been a successful team where there was a rift between the head coach and the starting quarterback?
mm, Super Bowl winning team, huh?
Yeah, Super Bowl aspiration winning team. Can you think off the top and people help us out? Because I had a hard time trying to figure this out. Like where there was like a riff, because we don't gotta like each other to do business.
Yeah, I'll
You know what
tell
I
you,
mean?
but back in the day, man, a lot of things that was going on in the locker room stayed in the locker room. This is a
Oh
new
yeah,
era. This is a new
yeah,
era of everybody in the locker room, everybody talking,
for
tweeting,
sure.
and texting
But
and
not, but
everything.
nowadays, like I think he had to answer a question about a private conversation he had with Winky, the ODC of the Giants, I believe, and I think he was on the Ravens at one point, but he had a side conversation call. A reporter asked him, like, well, what you talking about? So none of your goddamn business. Like, what I
Right,
gotta tell you when I'm talking to a peer of mine or somebody I might respect, or this guy might have said something to me in my college days, or told me something, and I got a chance to speak to him. Like, what we talking about?
right. I mean, I like the approach that Hertz is taking. I think he's taking the right approach. This is this year. The past is the past. We're moving forward. Our goal is everything in front of us. So I think that what he's doing and his approach is great. The media is going to do what the media is going to do. They like to stir up stories and controversies. Obviously, this is a downtime. Good thing the Olympics is on. It'll probably be even worse, right? So you look at First Take, you look at all these daytime or midday powerhouse stations, and they're really not talking about much at all. So I can see why this is a story. For me personally, I'm not a Sirianni guy, so I can't wait till he's out the door.
Why?
I don't think he moves a needle for anybody. I think the team has done it. I think that showed last year.
He
That's just
took
my
this
opinion.
team to the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
I think the talent, I think the offensive coordinator, which is Steichen, took this
Yeah.
team and led this team to being what they were. I think he held
Okay.
them responsible and together. That's why we were able to prevail moving forward to that Super Bowl. I think when we saw Nick Sirianni lose that leadership in the locker room, like Steichen, we saw it crumble. We saw it from day one. We saw Hurts upset on the sideline, AJ Brown upset. We didn't see all that stuff. You talking about a person that just got paid. You talking about two people that are really good friends. Although we understand that, hey, you're gonna get after it on, you're gonna get after it on the sidelines and disagree. But you start seeing it more. You start seeing the long faces, the like I'm not here type thing. Like this is some bullshit type character visuals that I was seeing on the sideline for the Philadelphia, I'm about to say 76ers, Philadelphia Eagles,
Yeah.
and I didn't think they were going to fall off a cliff like they did, but I'm
Hmm.
not surprised because the writing was on the wall. I think that comes from leadership. Sirianni's worried about everything. Well, it looks like, and optics are everything, especially for fans. It looks
Yeah.
like he's worried about everything else but his team. Whether he's yelling at the fans in the sideline, whether he's yelling at the ref and being immature. I said it to you earlier before the show. It looked like once Dom left, felt like Sirianni was off. Nobody can control Sirianni. So for me, that's not what I want my leader to be. Um,
You spoke about leadership, and I think also throughout this conversation, whether it be Pat McAfee, Stephen A, I think even Deshaun Jackson, LaShawn McCoy, um, Acho. I'm trying to think who else off the top of my head. Mike Lombardi, that's local here. Well, he's not local, but he actually no, he is local. Um, about Hertz's leadership and his ability to lead this team and be a leader for this team. And I think I'm thinking because of everything that's going on, this is a big year for him and Sirianni. Obviously, he's not going anywhere. They signed him, but It's almost like the Donovan thing. Like you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain. I think for him at this point, for me at this point, from what I'm seeing at this point, because now he's got to defend everything he does, everything. Now, does that just come with it because you're in Philadelphia and this is that market in Philadelphia, or or is or is the pressure warranted for him to deliver and be what we expect him to be from what we saw, 2 years ago?
Well, yeah, the pressure. You led us to the Super Bowl. Although we came up short, you had a almost a world class showing in the Super Bowl. Um, although that fumble was critical in the game, at the end of the day, you still had record breaking. Seemed like a phenomenal, um, statistically anyway in the Super Bowl. It was like 2 touchdowns, 300 something yards passing,
Oh
X, Y,
yeah,
and Z. So you
he
got
was
us.
he was
He
he
was
was special.
balling.
Super, yeah, he was
Right.
ball.
So you got us there, and then the following year, we're hoping that we can follow that back up. And I mean, the letdown was so big.
Crazy.
At one point, we were at 11-1.
Yeah,
That right?
yeah.
To completely fall off that cliff is just so. Now the question marks are saying, "Hey, is he the right person?" He didn't look right last year. More turnovers last year, but I think the people got to realize that he's not calling the plays. Now, is he
Oh,
orchestrating
he
the plays?
no, no, now he
Well, that's
did.
what they say. That's what they say,
Yeah,
right?
he did some other shit though too, out some schoolyard shit when he would just supposedly the story is that he wanted to have more control of the offense, and Sirianni was like, "Why? Because what we're doing is working." Meaning in their winning record, he was 10-1, they were 8-0 or 9-0, and they were
That's right.
winning.
Because he came out. He came on a press conference after that
Yeah,
Seattle
he
game.
but he wanted more. He wanted to have more control because from what my understanding, him and Brian Johnson started to see that okay, they're starting to figure this offense out, and sooner or later the cat's going to be out the bag, and they're going to blitz, and we ain't going to have an answer for it, and this Jones going to crumble. And Nick's like, I'm 10-0 right now. I'm 9-0. My Jones is, I'm good. You
That
know what I
how
mean?
that, is that the leader you want? A leader that lives in a moment and not thinking that's a bad leader. Oh, I'm on top now. Why would I change? You should
Yeah.
always be thinking about the next 3 games, not just where I'm at right now. That's not a good leader. Not in the game of football. I don't do that in
Mm-mm.
chess. It's a game. It's a game of chess, right? Like you got to think 3 to 4 to 5 moves ahead because where you are sitting right now, people are preparing for what they're seeing. So that's just a bad. If that's what was going on, if that's Sirianni, that's just a terrible, terrible take when you're talking about a person that's thinking different than you, and that's your quarterback. That almost is like now I'm looking at my coach like, man, my coach is an idiot. I was coached by a great Nick Saban. Never got too high. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying? We never like you got to think about his history. Nick
for
Saban.
sure.
Then you had what I think was a Lincoln Riley at one. Was that Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Obviously, offensively, he's always kind of like been that.
No,
That
no, it was it Stoops or Stubbs or whatever his name
was
is?
it
Bob
Stoops?
Stoops?
I can't
I
remember. It was
forget
at
who it was.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, I
But you're
forget who
talking
it was.
about coming from great coaching, and then now I got Nick Sirianni. It's a big difference. It's a big difference, right? I know college and NFL is different, but coaching, that maturity, that leadership is a different. And I can see why now, as I'm thinking about it out loud and speaking to it, I can probably see why Hurts is kind of like, bro, Sirianni is not this guy. He's not going to lead us. He's just not. We got to
Mm.
take it. We got to take it to the ring. Took it to the reins. But now he got paid. He realizes it's a business. Hopefully, he just turns the page, next chapter, and he just handles this with this new regimen.
So we got 600 people almost watching this stream. So we need to hit that like, hit that retweet, hit that subscribe, hit that follow, whatever you want to do. This is what we're talking about. Every time we get to talking, we get a lot of people watching, but we need y'all to stick around. That's a good time. If you got yourself a drink, grab yourself a drink. If you got your lady, come on, bring her on in. Let's talk some sports. You know what I mean? Let's talk some gambling stories. Make sure you guys chime in, hit the comments. Shout out to the homie Anthony Lee. Shout out. I'm assuming this is the same Lee. Um, Shout out to you for subscribing. Appreciate you.
Appreciate
Come
that.
on, show some support. Cost you nothing, as I say. Cost you nothing. All right. But I just want to leave y'all with this. I didn't even did too far.
I know what the fuck I'm doing. And I'm a
I know what the fuck I'm doing. That's what Nick got to say to y'all. I know what the hell I'm doing.
Please, Lord, please.
Shout out to Big Dom, man. Big Dom's amazing.
Big
man.
Dom. I need Coach Dom because
Yeah, man. We need Big Dom, man. Big
yeah,
Dom,
gotta be.
man.